Hi everyone, this is Cindy, and I'm finished with the Sherlock Holmes book. I wanted to flip through, and I'm still kind of surrounded by junk, so hopefully things aren't in the way. And you can see this journal pretty well. I've zoomed in. I just have to remember to keep it on this glass mat. So anyway, the journal is Memoirs of Sherlock Holmes. It measures 6 by 9 1/4, and it's got like a 1.5, 1 1/4. Yeah, about a 1.5 inch spine, and I got 3 signatures in it. I did nothing to the front or the back or the signatures, or the spine. I just left it the way it was. So whoever gets this, whatever they want to do, it's theirs to work with. So anyway, I added a post and hair tie closure, so you just open it like that. And one thing I've mentioned in other videos is if you take another hair tie and attach it to this, then you can make this as wide as you want. It still will close, so you're not limited to just this one hair tie. So anyway, because you can see it's on its way. But anyway, and of course, I filled it up, so things can be taken out to write on it. So let me grab my chair way back here. Okay, I think I mentioned in one of the videos that I had this index divider. I had found an M one, but I wanted H for Holmes, so I found one and just added this little emblem that I'm pretty sure I got off at Pixabay. I think that's it. It's a website where people have public domain photographs and things. So anyway, there's that. And you know what? I had said that I was afraid this paper might split, and I see a little bit of split there. So I'm going to include in the little packet of stuff that comes with this journal some lace or some rickrack or something, so if this does split, then they can cover that up. It's not going to affect the integrity of the book. It's just going to affect me, putting paper over where I put some chipboard to reinforce the spine, and that's just the bend is what's cracking there. So anyway, there's a little bit there, so I'm going to include some trims. So anyway, made this into a pocket, and this is just some leftover scrapbook paper I cut into tag shape. It just kind of helps decorate that front. And like I said, I added this scrapbook paper on top of the original flyleaf papers, or the end papers, because it just wasn't, it was kind of plain. All right, selected this scrapbook paper because I said the chairs would look old, could be Victorian, Edwardian age, whatever age it was, and it could represent people sitting in his apartment, his flat, because that's where his office was, and he always called himself a consulting detective, so that's where people came to consult with him. So that's why that paper. You go right here, so I left it blank. On this one, if it was pretty much writing surface, I left it blank because I was considering this more a writer's journal, which, what does that really mean? We write in all the journals, but see, like on this one with the scrapbook paper, I put a little tuck on here, and this was from Antique Papery. It was pages, Edwardian pages, and I just shrunk it down to be like a journaling card or a tuck size. I added this ticket and this little emblem here I cut out of the actual Sherlock Holmes pages, because at the end of each story it was like a collection of short stories. That was just that little emblem to tell you that the story was over. Make sure I'm in frame. And the ticket was from a pad of paper. I mentioned what it was. Here it is. The Old World Travel. I'm pretty sure I got it from Hobby Lobby. Okay, and you'll see some of the stuff from that pad too. And I believe this postcard was from there. Had this scrapbook paper, design on the back, so I just added this one, and I'm not sure if this came in the same paper kit or not. But anyway, just added that to the postcard. Like I said, this is scrapbook paper. If it was white, then I did some sort of stenciling on it. And this is like newsprint paper, or I think that's what they call it. Onion skin, like you use a typewriter. This is some scrapbook paper, and I just made this pocket hinged on there, so you can put something here. You can write here. The pocket's made of just some junk mail. They get those postcards in the mail now, the thicker stuff, so I just added scrapbook paper to it. And this is a little pocket, have a little decoration there with some lace. And this train image came from that Old World paper pad or kit or whatever it was. And I just put it on some paper, and so I made a tag out of it. Okay, stenciling on the back, and here at the bottom is where it had the company that made the paper, so I just covered it with some washi tape. Here's one of the Edwardian papers at the size they come. I just trimmed off the white. This is some scrapbook paper that I just left blank because I love, you know, looking at it, and I didn't try covering it up. So, and I printed coffee dyed paper on the back, so that's just a print. It looks like coffee dyed. This is coffee dyed. It's coffee dyed composition book, and you'll see some of those throughout here. I also included pages from a 1948, I believe it was, shorthand book, and most of the time I covered up a lot of the book with these, what I call messy journaling spots, and I just stitched around it a couple of times with my sewing machine, and on some of them I did some stamping. And on the back side of this page, you can see the shorthand there. I had just made pockets out of an atlas page, and I added that. If you saw the video, and I think it's actually, as I'm filming this, it's still uploading on my computer. It's taking 24 hours. It's a little bingo thing I found in the parking lot when I was at a antique shop. Some more of those cards. I'm not sure where I got them from. And I put a little messy journaling spot on the back. Was that there? Yes. Okay. And this was in my stash. It looks like an old, I probably got it from the New York Public Library. I'm not sure what city it is, but there's a river there, so it looks old. So it could be London during Sherlock's time. Here's one of the images, illustrations from the book, and they are blank on the back, so they're great journaling spots. So I've included them throughout the book. Coffee dyed paper. Here's another one of those index cards, and it's had an M on it, so I thought that's perfect. That could be M for Moriarty. So I stamped his name there just to remind you that's what the M is for. And this particular note was in the book. It's one of the illustrations in the book, and it had a little line here like it had been torn and shaken. I keep calling him Shakespeare. I apologize if I don't correct myself. Sherlock probably glued them together. So when I cut the note out, I went ahead and ripped it along that line. And then when I glued it onto this index card, I put a piece of Scotch tape on it, just so it would kind of look like, you know, they were trying to glue it together. So anyway, that's what I was trying to represent. This is scrapbook paper. It's the center of the signature, and I put envelopes in so it covers up the strings, and I just made up a note, and you'll see it throughout this book, that maybe Sherlock had sent to Dr. Watson, who was his companion. It says, "If you do not hear from me before midnight on the 25th, it is very likely that I am dead. Please go to my brother Mycroft. Proceed with caution as you might be followed. Tell Mrs. Hudson to not throw out my sock, Sherlock Holmes," and then his address. Okay, so put that in here, and the little closure is just a stamped image of a bee, because when Sherlock retired, he became a beekeeper. Okay, this pocket it's just made out of book page, stitched around. It has some collage elements, some scrapbook paper, and some embossing, and a little photo of Sherlock Holmes that I got from that same place. I got this. And this is just it was in my stash as well. It's like from a pharmacy, druggist and pharmacies. And even though it says Fresno, California, I figured Dr. Watson might have that in his possession. And this is just a card from the Clue game I just put in here. Coffee dyed paper. This is an actual library pocket from some book, and I covered up the name of the book because it wasn't anything to do with Sherlock Holmes. Just a sticker, some washi tape, and this is cut from the actual book pages as well. Every story began with an initial letter like that. And leftover scrapbook paper, I've inked it and stamped it, or not, stenciled it. And it's on the shorthand paper. Okay, this is a pocket made out of 2 corners or triangles of book page. I've just put some washi on this one, and a little I don't know, ephemera piece that was on the same page as that druggist form. And then a quote from Sir Arthur Conan Doyle, who wrote the Sherlock Holmes books. I just included this playing card with the writing space on the back. You know, Sherlock might have something like that in his possession. It's a train wheel, I think, pretty sure. I added the piece of It's dark on the back, so I put some lighter paper you can write. And this is that same note I just read. It was where it didn't print out great, so I just tore it and just pretending like, you know, a note from Sherlock got intercepted and torn up or something. And there's another picture of a train, some fabric. And I know they definitely had trains during Sherlock's time because he rode the train a lot. Here is an envelope, and we're in the back side of the signature, so you're seeing the back sides of all the papers. An envelope, it's made out of, I'm assuming, mulberry paper. Don't know if you can tell on camera what it looks like. I've got 2 of the quotes from Doyle or from Holmes, and there's his address, 221B, some embossing, and a little map. And I made a paper clip out of a ticket that came from that Old World Travel kit. Inside are just some more of the papers from the book that are blank on the back. So we got the illustration page and then one of the actual illustrations. So definitely can write on the back. And then here's part of the note again that's been torn. So just hiding it throughout the journal. And this paper is scrapbook paper. It's white on this side, so I'm just decorating it with the actual envelope. And it's got washi tape down here to cover up that manufacturer note again. Okay. And like I said, these are the back sides of the papers. You've seen them before. Another messy journaling spot. This is the ledger paper and the end of the signature. Next signature, this kind of motif on this paper kind of matches what's on this. Plus, I think I said in another video, if you've watched the latest Sherlock Holmes movies, it's got Benedict Cumberbatch in it. They have wallpaper on there in his flat that looks a lot like this. So, included that. With the ledger again, scrapbook paper, and this is another pocket made out of a map. This map paper is just so wonderful. It's thick and just silky feeling. So, made a pocket out of that, and then just some odds and ends to make a tag. Some scrapbook paper, and that's from the book, and I had a stamp of a book that I cut out, stenciled on the back, and got the eyelash trim. Washi to cover up the manufacturer's information, and then some more stenciling. It's the same papers as in the other signatures. It's just the only difference is the scrapbook paper is different. And this little ruffle is just made out of some wallpaper. I found it when I was digging through, so I included it. It's the lined paper. This is another picture from that same website where I got the Sherlock Holmes image. It just has a violin and some other odds and ends because Sherlock Holmes played the violin. And I made this journaling card just out of actually it's a little booklet, lined paper in the front and the back. Image from that same Old World kit, some washi tape, a stamp. I got those new stamps. And then this is from the bingo pieces. I found that the rain had warped them all and split the paper off. So I just took my stamps and put Sherlock Holmes' initials on there. Another pocket made out of that index from that, a page from that atlas. And this is another one, the Edwardian's papers just shrunk down. This is the one with the violin on it. Put a little seam binding for a little tab. And this is just another little cut apart from some sort of, I don't think it was the Old World travel kit. I'm not sure where I got that. Here's the this blown up the size, normal size, using it as a page, stenciling. So in the signature, another envelope, and this one just has another one of those Edwardian papers that's been shrunk down. And this one's got a ticket as its little closure. Stenciling, copy dyed print on the back of the Edwardian paper. This is, I'm pretty sure it was a Tim Holtz embossing folder, and it had Worldwide Telegram, and that's how Sherlock Holmes got a lot of his information was from Telegram, so that's just kind of representing that. And then it's just on layers of scrapbook paper. And here's that big Sherlock Holmes image on this book page. It's been turned into a little booklet, and I've got stenciling all over it. Okay, on the back we have another flip out. And this was about aviation. I left the words, but I covered up the pictures of the airplanes. And you can write here, this is another pocket. and another little representing a telegram. Lined paper, scrapbook paper, these papers, stenciling, and a sticker to cover up the manufacturer information. Messy journaling spot with another stamp on it. Ledger. And on this, this is the back of the signature, I had this stamp of a light post, and it just reminded me of the time when Sherlock would have been alive. So I stamped it on a book page and tore it out, and then just made a place for one of these. This is the table of contents of the book. It's listing the different stories that were in there, and just tucking it there. All right, last signature. Scrapbook paper, I just loved it. It's pretty. Same papers again, just different scrapbook paper. Here was that same image of that city. It's got the river that I just put on some scrapbook paper and stitched around it to make a pocket. And another postcard. It was a cut apart from that Old World Travel. And I just added, I'm pretty sure that was a cut apart from the same kit. I just glued it on the front to make the front of the postcard a little bit more interesting. There. And Edwardian paper that I made into a tuck and just added a sticker and another one of those emblems that came from the book. And behind it I've got another illustration. It's blank on the back. And this is just an index card. Oops, sorry. Stenciling on it. Collage on the front. And this actual image came from, we were at the Crazy Horse Monument in South Dakota, and we bought something, and that was on the top of the ticket. And I'm not sure what this says, but it just kind of reminded me of something that might be there during Sherlock's time, so I included it on there. This is a book page tag-shaped pocket that's got a little cluster here with some raffia and just some different elements. And there's that little violin page. I shrunk really small by accident, so I just included it in part of the collage. And this is a magazine, not magazine, book page that I just put some, experimenting with some napkin on it and just cut it in a tag shape. Put some gesso on the back so you can write on it, and it's just kind of real leathery feeling. So I thought that'd be fun to include. Another messy journaling spot on the shorthand book page. This pocket is a pocket that had guitar strings in it, and I actually put it on here backwards so you don't see all the advertisement of the guitar strings. It was just brown, and I put this little, it's written in French, I'm not sure what it's for, but anyway, put it there. Added a little cluster of fabric and things. There's another part of that little note that's been torn in half, and one of the Edwardian pages shrunk down to be a journaling card. And here's the big part of it. See? Okay. And, well, doesn't want to turn. Stamping. Center of the signature. I got another envelope. It's got old music paper on it. And an Rolodex card. It predates the Rolodex, and it just has one hole. I stamped a B on it. And this little closer is book pages and it's just some stickers. Okay. And this little pocket, it's just scrapbook paper that's been flipped up, and everything's upside down. But it kind of works because the idea is Sherlock Holmes did a lot of disguises. So he would have been turning things upside down, right? He was being himself. So anyway, I just stamped on their disguises. And then I had some stamps of some glasses that he might have worn. And here's another pair. And then there were several mustaches, so I just included those. And these, they're not blank on the back, but you could paint or something on the back, or you can cut them out and use them as decoration. So anyway, that's where all the disguises go. And let's see, on the back is just another pocket made out of book page. It's just got a little journaling card in there. I put the little tab on there so you can pull it out. Shakespeare picture, and behind here is just another tag. Just I've stenciled on and stitched on and just did a little bit of cluster. Anytime I'm in a Reader's Digest book or something and I see something that looks like that, it's coming away with me because that makes great things for collages. I have no idea what an end would do with this story, but it could be there and it's just pretty. So anyway, there it is. I mean, my H and my M mean something, but the N's and the T's and the I's, they don't mean anything. Stenciling. All right, on this, I had this thing. It's paper folded. So this is not blank where you can write. You could put whatever you want to there, but in case you wanted to write on it, in the little pocket, I included some messy journaling spots so you can glue them on if you want to, or you can put them somewhere else. So anyway, that's just their little pocket of some potential journaling spots. Here's another one. I'll just slip in there. Let's see, one more. Let's just slip them all in there. So they all match, the thread matches. And I glued it on as a pocket, a side pocket. So I had this larger index card that had been coffee dyed. I just put a little trim on the top that kind of matches the colors. Slip it out of there, and then another illustration that's blank on the back. Okay, get it in there. All right, and about to the end. A map that was in the book pages, I just tore it out and cut it out and then put it on some scrapbook paper. And this is an actual library card. I used to be a school librarian, and I have a bunch of these, and I had just, once we did away with them, I had them in a box, and I just used the backs for note card, writing notes on. So I just looked through my stash to see if I had one. I knew I didn't have a Sherlock Holmes one, but this one's about blood and guts. I figured that'd be something that, Sherlock Holmes, he kind of researched stuff like that, and he did experiments with things. So, and on this pocket, it's just some scrapbook paper. I loved that. It has nothing to do with Sherlock Holmes. It was pretty and kind of old looking, so I included it. Just a little cluster there, and it's a pocket with a B stamped journaling spot in there. And let's see, this pocket is a large book page, 2 of them, well, actually more than 2. It's pretty thick. I stitched around it, have a quote, and just a different set of elements for clusters. And I put the rest of the pages that are blank. That's like a title page. Go in there, yep. And another illustration. That's blank. So it's a larger pocket that you can put larger things in. And that's, oh, I had it on as a side pocket. Well, let's just do this. I didn't remember gluing it that way. Okay. And then this was from a really old sheet of music. I bought a box of it at a garage sale, and it was like 1920s, 1930s. So I just really loved this, so I cut it out and glued it to some cardstock so it's thicker, and it's heavy duty enough to handle a job as a tuck. So anyway, I tucked the title page in there for this particular book. So I'll just leave Mr. Sherlock Holmes' picture out right there. Okay, so that is the memoirs of Sherlock Holmes. It's already been spoken for, so I'm going to, within the next day or two, get this to her. So I thank you for watching, and I'm on to the clue books, which I've got to get done. So anyway, talk to y'all later. Bye.